that is Innovation and Entrepreneurship, does not end today. This is just the end of the theory classes. After this, we are going to come to you with a series called 100 Most Important Questions. And in that series, we will be covering 100 questions which are expected in this. Obviously, there are only 25 questions that will come, but we are giving you 100 questions, out of which we expect a significant number of questions coming your way, right? But that is from the next session, which is on Monday onwards. For today, let's go ahead and take a look at what is the theory and what are the related questions that are in store. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something called as POC. Okay, red. Usually I don't use red. So let me change this into a different color. Yes, POC, something called a prototype, a pilot, and MVP. So we're going to understand these terms because questions may appear. In fact, last couple of years questions did come from these terms, and we can expect the questions again. We will learn something called as GMV versus revenue. What is the meaning of GMV and what is revenue? We'll try to understand that. Profitability versus profit. Similarly, we will understand what is the meaning of a business model, a revenue model versus a business plan. What is the difference between these three? All of them have something to do with business, but what exactly is each one of them? And we will also look at copyright, patent, trademark, trade secrets, and license. So we are going to learn a lot of these definitions today. Okay, so this is what is in store for you right now. Let's go and start with something called as POC. First of all, how many of you know what is the meaning of POC from the perspective of a product? This is called proof of concept. Proof of concept. The name itself should be explaining certain part of the meaning. What it means is it is a way in which I have a concept in mind. I have to prove that this concept can be made into a business, or I have to make a proof somehow that this concept will work. Whatever I can use to make that proof, but this process of making that proof so that my concept work is called as proof of concept. It is a small exercise to test the real world potential of an incomplete idea. Okay, it is not about delivering the idea. It's not about making the perfect product, but the whole idea is, if I make something like this, are people interested in it? I'm not talking about exactly what should be there. Okay, by demonstrating whether it is feasible. So firstly, I have a great idea in mind. Does a technology exist today to make it? Are people interested in it if I make it? Is it feasible? What if it is extremely costly and you don't want to make it because people don't want to spend that kind of money? For example, there is something called as shale gas. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. There is something called as shale gas. Some time back, probably about 8-9 years back, this was in news quite a bit. Okay, why was it in the news? Basically because the petrol prices rose and the technology to take this gas out became cheaper. Two things happened. The petrol prices increased and the technology to extract this shale gas came down. Earlier, before that, the petrol prices were low and the cost of extracting this gas was very high. So while their idea is there that okay, this gas can be taken out and used, it was not feasible. Why? You have a cheaper alternative, which is petrol. So the concept was there, but it was not feasible. That okay, the concept is fine, let's take out this gas and start using it instead of petrol. Great, concept is good, but not viable. Financially not viable because it's very costly to extract that at that point in time, let's say in 2000s. But somewhere in the mid 2015-16s, when the petrol prices went up and the shale gas technology also improved, then the concept became a kind of a reality and you had a lot of people getting into that business. So proof of concept talks about an idea and is it firstly viable? Does the technology exist to bring that idea into fruition? So for example, again, a very good example is I'm sure you guys would, those of you who are interested in movies, have been following this Immortal Ashwatthama. There's a movie which was supposed to have been made with Ricky Kaushal, what is his name? Not Ricky. What Kaushal? Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. The person who married Katrina Kaif. Anyway, he was the one who's supposed to be the hero for that movie, but the movie currently got shelved. Why? Because there's a very nice concept, there's a very nice story, but the director and as well as the producer realized that to bring that story today, that concept to be brought today, it's extremely costly. The budget is very, very high. So what they said is, look, I will for the time being put a hold on it. My concept is there, but for my concept to come into fruition, I will have to wait for the technology to become cheaper to bring that concept into reality. That is what basically stopped the movie from coming out, because the budget is very high. It's not that they want to raise more money. They said, let's wait for 5-6 years, let the technology improve, and we'll be able to make the same movie, same concept, without compromising on quality for a cheaper budget. Anyway, so the proof of concept talks about bringing an idea to bring an idea, give it a life, and see whether it is acceptable. If it is acceptable, what kind of money does it cost, etc., etc. Next is a prototype. What is a prototype? Prototype is a visible, tangible, or functional manifestation of an idea. So this is different from proof of concept. Proof of concept could be an idea trying to bring it to life by an experiment, it doesn't have to really have the exact product in place, somewhere nearby to a product, that's fine. Whereas prototype, it should be used when you have a hypothesis about a solution, but there is still uncertainty about how it looks. So prototype is used as a second step. So let's say proof of concept is passed. So you say that you have an idea, the idea is viable to bring it. But then exactly how will the product look like? What will be the size of the product? What will be the weight of the product, for example? If you are unsure about it, then you build a prototype. A prototype is supposed to do what your idea is supposed to. It's a manifestation of the idea to get the look, feel, touch of the product in front of you, which this is called as a prototype. Okay, a proof of concept shows if a product, feature, or system can be developed, while a prototype shows how it will be developed, right? The proof of concept says, can it be done? Whereas a prototype says, how will something be done? How means how will it look? How much will it, how long will it take for me to make? What material will I use? All of that. Okay, so that is where your prototype comes into place. So that's the difference. Then we have something called as a pilot. So what is a pilot? Pilot is rolled out to a smaller audience, the release of a product to a smaller audience. It can lead to changes in process, product based on feedback. So basically what happens is, let us imagine that I have a new product and I'm going to mass produce it in lakhs and crores. But that is a cost for me. And what if there is a problem that I realize that the product has and I'm manufacturing crores of them? I'll be having a problem, right? So I will release this product, fully finished product, to a smaller audience, keeping my production costs low, saying that only few thousands will be produced and sent to the market. Let the people use it in that small area, small set of people. Let them come back to me with problems. I will try to see how many of them are actual problems, genuine problems, and I will try to make the modifications before I go all out. So such a thing is called as a pilot. So when a product is released in a pilot phase, you can expect certain changes to be made post the pilot phase based on the feedback in the product, feedback of the product. It's used to see if the product is ready for larger launch. As I said, can get a sense of success, failure to accept. So sometimes it's not just about the fault in the product. Sometimes what if I realize that I thought people will love my product, and then I realize that I've released it in Pune as an example, instead of releasing it in the entire country. Pune is a metro, not exactly a metro city, but a cosmopolitan city. What if my product is not taking off there? I will have a worry. Should I then launch an all India campaign, make production line for crores and crores of people crores and crores of product units, launch it in all the metro cities? I don't know. If my Pune is a failure, I have to understand why did it fail in Pune. So should I take a risk of launching it in 10 other cities at the same time? It's a huge cost. So sometimes it will also tell you whether there is a success or a failure that is expected from the product. So that is also an output of a pilot drive. Next is something called as a MVP. For those of you who are in the gaming terms, you might be confusing this with most valuable player. No, this is something called as a minimum viable product. So what is a minimum viable product? Usually this is used in technology based products. Okay, it is a version of a new product which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of learning about customers with the least effort. So minimum viable product is, if I want to learn about my customers and have information about my customers, but this information I want to get with the maximum information I want to get with the least amount of effort and spend, then what I launch is called as a minimum viable product. A perfect example is given here. Let us say I want to see whether people like automation. For example, you are Swiggy. Mostly, initially you go to Swiggy, it is an automated chat. Okay. So if I want to understand, will people be happy about it or unhappy about it? Then do I really want to build an artificial intelligence machine at the end and spend that amount of time and effort and money to test whether people will like it? What if there is another way to make people believe that they are talking to AI and then see the reaction? So what if I have an interface which says that, look, you're talking to a bot, but actually I have a human being who behaves like a bot and gives answers like a bot, or sends pre-planned or pre-made text messages in the chat? How will the customers respond? We can know the response of the customers because I'm making the customer believe that the customer is talking to a bot and taking their feedback. So I am not spending time, money, energy into making an artificial intelligence chatbot. I am first trying to understand, will people accept it or not? To understand whether people will accept it or not, I am not making a bot. I am making a human being sit there as a bot and I'll get all the information that I want. So basically what I want, I have to pay to one human being and a web designer to make a web interface. That's all. The rest of it I will get to know. So this is the minimum viable product to get the maximum information by spending the least amount of time, money and effort. This is the example of a MVP. Okay. Next, we will try to understand the meaning of gross merchandise value. What is a gross merchandise value? It is typically in the e-commerce terms. So Amazon buys and sells products. It buys products sometimes from a vendor. Sometimes it does not buy from a vendor. It allows the vendor to come and sell it on its websites. Either way, so gross merchandise value is the total of all the selling prices. The total of all the selling prices that are sold on Amazon. Let's take an example for you to understand. Gross merchandise value, and you have to understand the meaning of revenue. Revenue is income of Amazon. And what is then GMV of Amazon? Let's take an example. Let us say Amazon has 3 products, or let's say 2 products. One product is a computer. This is 1 lakh per item, and a mobile phone. It is 50,000 per unit. Let us say Amazon sells only one computer and only one mobile phone. The total GMV is 1.5 lakhs. The total GMV is the money that Amazon collected by selling this. It is called gross merchandise value. However, the revenue or the income is not 1.5 lakhs. Why? Because Amazon did not make the computer, Amazon did not make the phone. It is selling, or it is allowing somebody to sell on its website. So let us say the Amazon basically charges 10% commission for letting the computer guy come and sell the computer on its platform, and it is charging 20% on the phone, which means Amazon will get 10,000 here and will get 10,000 here. Correct? 10,000? Yes. So it will make 20,000. This is called as the revenue for Amazon. Revenue for Amazon is how much money finally goes to Amazon, whereas gross merchandise value is the value of the entire goods that are sold on the platform. It does not it doesn't talk about how much is going to Amazon. It is totally the value of the things sold on Amazon. That is the difference between GMV and revenue. Clear, guys? So these are the basic definitions I thought you should know, because there have been questions that have come directly based on this definition. So we have made a list of these definitions, and it's better that you guys know about it. The next thing is profitability. Okay, so first let's take a look at various terms to understand profitability. It is a percentage of type of profit measured over sales. So profitability is percentage profit over sales. Now sales means revenue. What you need to understand, difference between profit percentage profit percentage and profitability, both of them are percentages. However, profitability is calculated over the revenue, whereas profit percentage is calculated over the cost price. Let's take an example. If I say I bought an item, any item, for 100 rupees, my cost price, and my selling price is 150, then my profit is 50 rupees, correct? Now profitability, my profitability will be 50 by 150, which is 33%, whereas my profit will be 50 over 100, which is 50%. So this is the difference between profitability and profit. Okay, next is gross profit. Gross profit, operating profit, EBITDA, EBIT and PAT. Now there are many other things. Let's not get into all of them. Only certain things I'm going to talk about. What is the meaning of gross profit? Typically, gross profit talks about it is your total revenue minus cost of goods sold. So what is the meaning of cost of goods sold? So revenue minus cost of goods sold means, let us say I have a revenue of 100 rupees and the cost of raw material for this, is 40 rupees. So the 60 rupees is my gross profit. But that, if you notice, that is not actually a profit. Why? Because I've used 40 rupees of raw material, but I would have made that raw material into something, which means there is a cost involved in converting this raw material into a finished good. There will be people involved. I might be using some consumables in the manufacturing process, for example. So operational profit talks about the profit that you make when you consider all the expenses. Okay, all the expenses related to this business. So if I bought something for 100 rupees, or sorry, if my revenue is 100 rupees, my cost of goods sold, the raw material cost, is 40, then operational cost is 20. So my operational profit is 40. Why? Because my raw material is 40, then I'm converting that raw material into a finished product. So there are people involved, I have to pay the salaries. There are other material which will be involved, or anything else that will be involved, like electricity. Electricity is not a raw material, but I'm using electricity, I'm using ACs, I'm using computers. All of those will be costs. So all of that will be 20 rupees, let's say. So I'll be talking about my expenses to be 60, my revenue is 100, I'm making 40. This is called as operational profit. Please remember, operational profit only talks about your business requirement in terms of operations. So making and selling of things. Now what happens for those of you who do not know the concept of depreciation and other things, basically what I'm saying is, if you take a simpler example of a car, taxi basically. Now if I use a taxi for 2 years, I will have an operational profit. However, please remember, my car is getting used, correct? So there is a wear and tear for my car. I'm not talking about repairs. That is different. Repairs comes under your operations itself, because you have a tire puncture, or your engine has a problem, your brake has a problem, all that are in repairs. That I'm not talking about that. Even without any repairs, you're using your car. Even a new car, when used for 2 years, starts becoming slowly old. So there is, in economic terms or in accounting terms, there is something called as depreciation. It talks about, while there is no expense on your car for 2 years, it is equivalent to saying 2 years life of your car is used, which means in terms of monetary value, if your car was worth 10 lakhs at the beginning, after 2 years it is now worth, let's say, only 6 lakhs, which means every year 2 lakhs it has gone down in value. That is not a direct cost, but that will also be taken into account when you talk about EBIT, EBIT. So the difference between operational profit and EBIT, so basically these two are the same. Operational profit and EBITDA are the same. Now, if you start saying that I have to subtract the value of the depreciation also, then if depreciation goes, and something called as amortization, which is very similar to depreciation for non-tangible assets. Again, I'm not getting into the accounting terms. For all practical purposes, assume that D and A are similar in nature. So if I take out these non-tangible expenses as D and A, what I have is next is called as EBIT. This is profit or earnings before income, interest and tax. Now, I have taken a loan to run my business. I have to pay back interest on the loan. But that is not called as an operational expense. Why? Because in running my business, for running my car, I'm not utilizing that money of interest, or it is not coming into the calculation of operations of my car. But it is still a business expense. Why? Because for your taxi company to survive, that loan was required. So it is still a cost for you. So that cost, when you start taking that cost also into account, you will have something called as EBIT, EBT. Earning before tax. So EBIT talks about earnings before subtracting interest. After you subtract interest, you will be having something called as EBT, earnings before tax. And of course, tax you have to pay to the government. When you subtract tax, you will get PAT, profit after tax. So basically it is EBITDA. If I just have to write down the chronology, it is EBITDA minus your depreciation and amortization, you will get EBIT, minus your interest, you will get EBT, minus your tax, you will get PAT. So these are the different profit terms that you need to understand. Okay, clear? Okay, the next things that we're going to talk about is the meaning of business model. What is a business model? And what is it used for? So business model talks about how a company generates value to its stakeholders. When I say value, it is not money. It is not money. Value is, see, for example, if I say, do I add value? It does not mean am I giving you money. Do you find some usefulness in my lecture? Okay. So value here is not necessarily money. It is, why should somebody come and buy your product? What value are you giving them? What use are you to them? So the business model talks about how a company gives this value to its stakeholders. Now again, stakeholders is not just about customers. Stakeholders are anybody who are affected by this business. It is customers, it is employees, it is board of directors, it is shareholders, everyone. So how this thing, guys, just a moment. How this thing or this business help each one of the people who are involved with the stakeholders, correct? Are involved with the business. So that is what is called as business model. So it includes, of course, the product, because it is about the customers, how the product is delivered, how the revenue model, how will I collect? So we'll understand what is revenue model anyway in detail next. What ways will I generate money? It also talks about how will I run my internal employees? Is there something unique about it? How will I attract talent? All of this put together will be called as a business model. It is basically a model on how to run the business. Okay. Now, what is a revenue model? So I told you that we'll be talking about revenue model. So what is a revenue model? Revenue model is very particular about the money part. Business model is everything included about people within the organization, people outside the organization, money to the product, this, that, everything. Whereas revenue model is very focused on the money part. How a company gets money for the value it created. So if you think that I am a business creating value, then I have to tell people or people who are giving me money, meaning the investors, how am I going to generate revenue? Well, you can say, sir, you will sell the product and get the revenue. Great. Is there only one way to sell a product, or are there different ways to sell a product? What are the different ways to sell a product and generate revenue? That is what is called as revenue model. For example, there is something very pure called as, I'm using online advertisements as an example here, ad-based revenue model. So you all know Google, all of you use Google, it's free. How is Google one of the largest and the biggest companies in the world, probably the second or the third biggest company in the world? Alphabet. How? You are all using it for free. YouTube is free. You're watching this lecture for free. So how is Google benefiting from all of this? They are making money. How? The process of making money comes under revenue model. So there they show you advertisements, nothing costing for you. If you like the advertisement, you'll click on it. But they will generate revenue from the companies that are, rather companies whose advertisements are seen by you. That is a model. Some people talk about transaction-based model, which means, yes, I need this service, I will pay you money, you give me the service. Very straightforward, which is a very old model, nothing wrong about it. Something called a subscription model. If you remember, Microsoft Office, basically your Excel and PowerPoint and all, at one point in time, you buy it like 15 years back. You buy it once, it was yours. You can use it till the end of your life. You buy Microsoft Office 2003, it was there with you. Microsoft will not come and say that, okay, it will stop working for you. However, in the last decade, they have moved to something called as a subscription model. In fact, a better example will be your Netflix. Netflix, every month you have to subscribe and pay. It is not that once I pay, it will be with me forever. Every month you have to pay. So that is what is called as a subscription model. Earlier, I don't know how many of you remember this, there used to be DVDs that you used to purchase or rent for watching a movie. So there the model was per movie, per DVD cost. Here you are not charging per movie that you watch. The guys like Netflix and Amazon Prime, they have come and said, you watch whatever you want. My model is different. I'm not going to charge you per movie that you watch. I'm going to say you pay me 1,000 rupees or 600 rupees, 700 rupees. Watch whatever you want for the entire month. It's a different model. So these are the different ways in which you tell customers how they will pay money for you for your product. That is called, these are called as revenue models. Direct sales, channel partners. So all these are very interesting. Free product but chargeable service. At a point in time when Reliance came in, long time back, 2007, 2008, when I was in my college, not even 2008, 2003, 4, when Reliance came with CDMA phones. I don't know how many of you even know this. There is something, a technology called CDMA technology, and the phone and the SIM were given for 500 rupees. Phone and SIM were given for 500 rupees. So there, effectively, it's like giving the phone for free, more or less. But how will the company Reliance make money? Now when I say Reliance, it was Anil Ambani's, Mr. Anil Ambani's Reliance, not the Jio we are talking about. That went out of business, but Reliance Telecom. So how did they make money? Not by selling the handset. They are losing money on the handset. So how will they make money? By making you use their airwaves, basically by making you pay bills month on month for the network that you're using. So it is more or less, product is given at a loss or free. Free is just an exaggeration, but I can also say that yes, I'm giving this for free, but if you want to use the product and keep using it going forward, the service is given by the product, you have to pay. For example, hypothetical scenario, I will give you a 40-inch screen free, 40-inch TV free. Only condition is there is only Netflix in it. There is only Netflix in it, and you have to pay Netflix every month to watch it. You cannot install any other service. So let us say that Netflix comes with this thing saying that 40-inch TV will be given free for all of you, and they have built it in such a way that you can't install any other app in it. So anybody who gets it for free, you will have to pay month on month and keep watching Netflix. One way of working. So they will recover the cost of the TV by the subscription that you keep paying month on month. Right? So these are different ways in which companies will try to gain customers, different models. These are called as revenue model. Okay. Next, what is a business plan? It's a document that describes in detail how a business, usually a startup, defines its objectives and how it is to go about achieving its goals. So first, the business plan. The plan, it's a plan, right, of how you intend to run your business. What is your business? How will you go to your customers? How will you make them your loyal customers, or how will you sell your product to the customers? How will you tell your product is good, they should use your product? What is your ultimate goal? Ultimate goal is to make your product be accepted by people. So how will you do this entire thing is called as a business plan. Of course, it will include financials, money matters are required. It will also, very essential for getting loans or funding, because nobody is going to give you money without knowing what is your business plan. How do you plan to get money from the customers? Are you going to cheat them? Are you going to be honest and lose money? Are you going to be honest, smart, and make them trust you because you are really trustworthy and you don't cheat them at all, and therefore they become your loyal customers? What is your plan? Your plan could also be that, look, I will catch hold of some 10,000 bakras, make money and get out. It could also be that, look, I'm going to be here for the next century, 2 centuries. My company is going to be established for the next 300, 400 years. I'm going to be a well-trusted brand. Anybody who talks about trust should talk about me. I want to build that kind of a brand. What is your plan to make that kind of a plan, to make that kind of a brand? All of this is covered under business plan. Okay. So this is about businesses. Then we are going to talk about few things. One of the few things related to product specifically. Now here, the first thing is called as copyright. What is a copyright? A copyright is a type of intellectual property that gives its owner the exclusive right to copy and distribute a creative work, usually for a limited time. For example, I made a movie. Okay, rather I wrote a novel. Then the novel will have a copyright. The copyright is about how I am producing or making my idea come to life. Now the idea could be Mahabharata. The idea could be Mahabharata. You can't say Mahabharata is mine because that's already existing. But how I am projecting that Mahabharata in front of you guys, that could be copyrighted because it is more about artistic in nature. How I present it is something that I can copyright. So my movie effectively I can copyright for a certain time. Okay. The creative work may be literary, artistic, educational or musical form. Okay. Copyright is intended to protect the original expression of an idea in the form of creative work, but not the idea itself. See, you cannot say that this idea came only to me, nobody else should get the idea. You can't stop ideas from coming. However, the expression of the idea in your way can be stopped. Okay, as I said, Ramayana can be made by many people. Mahabharata can be made by many people. But people can't just take my movie, make it as it is, as another movie and pass it on. Then I will say, I have a creative freedom to use the background story of Mahabharata. This is my copyright. Somebody cannot copy it as it is. So that is where the difference comes. Next is a patent. Patent is a type of IP that gives its owner the legal right to exclude others from making, using or selling an invention for a limited period. Now patent is more tangible in nature. You're making a new product which is tangible. You're making a new product like a tablet, a way in which a new drug has been made. All of these are tangible processes. This is not art or literature anymore. It's more tangible in nature. So that's where you use the word patent. It stops others from copying what you did for a limited amount of time. You cannot say that, okay, I came up with a drug for let's say COVID. Let's say COVID drug has come up, and you say that, okay, lifelong, forever in the future, I will be the only owner for this particular drug. That is not allowed. They will say, okay, fine, you spent a lot of money, research in making this, 20 years. I'm just using an example, sometimes 20, sometimes 25 years. I don't know what is the timeline depending upon the product. They'll say, okay, 20 years, nobody can use this exact formula that you have come up with. After 20 years, it becomes generic, which means anybody can make it. So you will be given exclusive rights for 20 years. Okay. So a patent here protects the idea itself, or sometimes the process that helps make the idea a reality. Let's take this example. Gold, everybody loves it. Today, gold exists. But if I find a process to convert, let's say, iron into gold, if I find a process which nobody knew to convert iron into gold, I can't say gold is mine, correct? But what can I protect? I can protect the process that I developed. And I say nobody should copy this this process. So iron was existing before, gold was existing before. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the conversion way. That can be protected. So that is basically what a patent does. Or sometimes a new invention itself, a product did not exist before. Let's say my favorite example, I live in Hyderabad, I've been in Bangalore, in Bombay. So travel is a major issue. If somebody comes up with a teleportation device, which didn't exist before, the invention can be patented, saying that I came up with this teleportation device, which is actual product. So it is not the process anymore. The direct product can be patented. Nobody else can copy my design. But the idea of teleportation is not yours. Idea I am bringing into reality by this product, that can be patented. Nobody can copy this. You build a different machine using different technology to do the same work. You are fine. But this invention is mine. Okay. What is next? The next thing is a trademark. Trademark is a word, phrase, symbol, or a design that identifies and distinguishes the source of the goods of one party from those of the others. So basically, trademark talks about how my good is different from the others. So I'm just trying for an example. Yes, so let us say I have a logo. Okay, let us say I have a logo. I will trademark this logo. I will trademark this logo. Nobody else can copy the same logo. Okay, saying that, look, let's say we are working in BYJU'S. The BYJU'S, that logo, the way in which it is designed, the way in which the letters are written, all of them are trademark. Which means nobody else can copy that and say that they are also teaching and they are also BYJU'S. No, they can't. This is mine. So this is basically, it is not a product effectively, right? It's not a product. So product is for patent. It is not an idea also. It's not a literary work also. It's not that I'm writing an article. It's not that I'm writing an essay. It's not that I'm writing a movie. So it is not about your copyright. So here it's only about a symbol, about a identification. So my identity cannot be copied by somebody else. That is where a trademark comes into play. Okay. Next is a trade secret. Now trade secret is a bit of a gray area. Trade secret talks about any recipes, for example, any best practices, or things which are not necessarily protected by the law, but it is kept within the company. For example, in Hyderabad, again, I am from Hyderabad, so I'm taking an example here. For asthma, every year there used to be a fair in which there used to be a medicine given, put inside a small fish. So a medicine which is put inside the fish, and people with asthma, they will be opened like this, and the fish used to just be popped inside, and you are supposed to swallow the fish, and the medicine slowly gets into your system. Now, it's scientifically, whether it's working or not is a different issue. Many people claim yes it worked, many people claim it did not work. I'm not getting into whether it's working or not. However, what is the medicine there? What is the medicine there? Nobody knows. They didn't file for a patent also for that medicine. It's a secret. They kept within the family. There was one family who used to do that. I don't remember the name of the family. They kept it within their family. The recipe was kept within their family. It's a secret. So, can you get the secret? No, because they will take the fish, they put it in your mouth. It's gone. Right? So, so you can't get that recipe out. Similarly, how does Pepsi make its soft drinks? So there is a particular combination of, so you know what chemicals are used, you know what ingredients are used, you know what goes into it, but what is the process in which you are making it, that is a secret. Okay, so that these kind of things are called as trade secrets. You can't necessarily by law protect it per se. However, you can by law penalize people who are divulging these secrets. So if somebody has been working with me, they will sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, which means my secrets, anybody who comes into my company to work for me will obviously know my secrets. But as a part of my company, I will be asking them to sign an NDA. So when you leave my company and go out, you cannot divulge this information. If you divulge this information, I can sue you as well as a person who's got benefited by you. So that way I can protect. It's an indirect protection, not a direct protection. That is where your trade secret comes into play. Okay, so intellectual property law gives the owner of a trade secret the right to restrict others from disclosing it, as I said. But the onus is on the owner. The owner takes responsible measures to keep them a secret. So I can't keep saying that it's a secret and I'll just leave the recipe out there for everyone to find out. So I'll have to be conscious to make sure that it is not known. If somebody comes to know and it is my mistake, I can't sue that person. Patent is different. I can throw to anybody. I can tell how I'm making, but you cannot sell it. So if you sell it because of patent, I can sue you. Trade secret is not like that. It is my mistake. It goes out into the public. I can't sue everyone because it is my mistake. Okay. Next is a license. A license is a grant. So basically it's a permission. So just take the example of the movies. So let us say I have a movie title. Very unique, nice title. And or let's take this example of Koi Mil Gaya. So very old movie. Many of you would have seen it when you were kids. Nice movie. Today somebody wants to remake that movie. Now technically that Koi Mil Gaya title cannot be used for about 20-30 years. I don't know what is it in the film industry, for how many years you cannot use the title. But there's a limit to all of these. It's not for lifetime. So let us say that somebody wants to make this movie again and the title is still under the protection of the law because the time period is not expired. So then I can go to the owner who has the title and request him a license to use the title once again. So he will permit me to use it. It's called as a license. License means I'm allowing you to use my name. Similarly, if Maruti wants or allows a dealer to sell its car, so you will give a license for that person to set a dealership to sell your cars. Otherwise, he's not authorized to sell a car. People can't randomly buy my cars from one place and keep selling it. It's unauthorized, right? So if I give a license to sell my cars, then only. If I give a license to use my name, only then you can. So that is what is called as a license. Okay, so a few questions. The first question, monetizing an idea to make money with some method of operation is known as. What is the answer? So yes, the correct answer is business model. Sorry, my bad. Revenue model. You monetizing money related. Remember, business is not just about money, whereas revenue is mostly about money. Okay. Next, if the threat of substitute products, so this is based on previous one of the classes. This is not today's class. It's just a test. How many of you remember this? If the threat of substitute products or services is low, then which of these four options is correct? Let us see how many of you remember this. How many of you remember this? No, it is not A. Yes, it is advantage to the supplier. What is the threat of substitutes? Which means if my product has 10 other similar products in the market, my product has 10 other similar products in the market. So if not me, the customer will go to somebody else. So it's a substitute or a alternate. Okay. Whereas if there are no options, at all, then I will be in a very unique position where people will have to come only to me. So it is good for the supplier. A business competing in a commodity-like environment which must focus on which of the following. Commodity-like means it's like your petrol. Your BPCL will sell the same petrol, HPCL will sell more or less the same, Indian Oil will sell the same, Reliance will sell the same. So it's a commodity. Basically, it is more or less the same everywhere. In such a scenario, what should the focus be on? Well, the correct answer is all of the above. The price. See, if all products are similar, I can't keep my product very high, the price very high. Ease and delivery of speed. Yes, all prices are same, but I am giving you faster delivery. People will come to me. So I can't make the delivery time or speed or usage very difficult. So that also I should focus on. Ease of ordering. Well, if ordered, it is coming very fast. The price is same, but ordering itself will take a lot of time. Why will people stay with me? They will not. So how easy is it to order? That is also important. So all of them are important. Okay. Next, what is a model of a proposed product, service or system? What is the model of a proposed product, service or a system? Proposed product. Basically, okay, this is a prototype. You're talking about a proposed model, a working reality. So you're basically looking at how does it look, how does it feel, the size of it. We have already seen the meaning of it. It's a prototype. This is just an acronym. I think we have seen this in one of the previous classes. Pestal is an acronym for Political, Environmental, Societal, Technological, Learning and Environmental. Political, environmental, okay, this has come twice. This is not correct. Shareholding is not correct. This is correct. Political, environmental, technological, legal and environment. Environmental has come twice here also. Oh, I think there is an error here. It's supposed to be economic. There is somewhere economic is missing. Let me correct one of them. So let's change this as economic. Then A will be the correct answer. Political, economic, technological. Then there is a social also. S is for social. Social is there. So then this let's change this. Social is there already. So let's change this into economic. So political, economical, social, technological, legal and environmental. This is Pestal. So basically, why is this important? Because today, when you make a decision, the decision can affect you in all of these segments. There could be a political impact, there could be an economic impact, there could be a social impact, technological impact, legal impact and environmental impact also. So when you're running a business, your decisions can have these repercussions, or the other way around. Anything happening in these areas can have repercussions on your business. So you have to keep these various areas in mind, how you are affecting them or they can affect you. Okay, that's Pestal. A business plan should include technical analysis, market analysis, financial analysis. It should include option C, financial analysis. Not technical analysis, not market analysis. Business plan should talk about how is your business going to go forward. Well, other things should also include. Of the other things, financial analysis is correct. Okay. Well, my friends, that brings us to the end of the session. This is the last session on the theory part of CMAT. So I hope I'll be catching you guys on the next series on CMAT Innovation and Entrepreneurship, which is called the 100 questions, 100 must-know questions. So we are going to come up with 100 questions from all the topics that we have discussed till now. And we will make sure that you don't miss even a single question in the 25 of them that comes to you in your actual exam. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful evening and all the very best for your preparation. Thank you and see you in the next one.